In Memphis, the Lakers with an outstanding chance to put away the Grizzlies in their own building. No Ja Morant out with this one with the hand. You saw it in game one. Second quarter, Grizzlies are up by 9. But look at Anthony Davis flying in for the block on John Conchar. And now they're going the other way, and LeBron is laying it in. AD had 5 blocks. But Conchar would say, guess what? I don't forget moments like that. Look at him coming in. He's 6'5", Chris Canty, and he's stuffing Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I'm going to need AD to go up with a little more assertiveness in that situation.
That's a remarkable defensive play. And then, speaking of defense, the defensive player of the year was drilling threes. That's Jaren Jackson Jr. Grizzlies by 15 at the half. Third quarter, Grizzlies up 17. Xavier Tillman. What a night for him. 22 points for Xavier Tillman. Grizzlies up 20, but LeBron bringing the Lakers back. And look at the drawing. Dillon Brooks playing the villain's role. LeBron would have 28. Fourth quarter, it's a 9-point game. Brooks gets the handoff. Oh, you know he loved it. And look at him staring down LeBron on their way back up the floor. 4 minutes to go. Lakers down by 8. LeBron, the quick bucket. It's a 6-point game. Minute and a half left. Who you going to for the biggest basket of the night? Oh, it's Dillon Brooks, of all people, drilling that one. Look at the face. Brooks with 12. Grizzlies even up the series.
You and LeBron have that exchange. There are people out there that say maybe you shouldn't do that with one of the better players in the game. I guess what were you thinking?
I don't care. He's old. You know what I mean? I was waiting for that. I poke bears. I don't respect no one until they come and give me 40.
Ooh. Well, isn't that it? Can we just get a quick shot of Chris Canty's face over here, Cindy? I wasn't playing, but I mean, Chris.
I don't understand. Bron is shooting 50% with Dillon Brooks as the closest defender in this series. Stop yourself, Dillon Brooks. It's easy to talk cash money after you win.
Did you? Yes, and a lot of people think that Memphis is kind of that way.
They're front runners.
But they're front runners. But all of a sudden, they're not behind anymore. They're not in front, but they're not behind. Hey, Timmy Legler, you've been out there in the middle of some of this in your life. What do you make? We'll get into the significance of the game and all the rest of that in a minute. But let's just start with that. Dillon Brooks is tugging on Superman's cape. What do you think of it?
Well, listen, first of all, Dillon Brooks is a very important part of this series. He's an important part of Memphis Grizzlies' plan to beat the Lakers. There's no question about it. And there should be an appropriate level of disrespect for your opponent when you're in Dillon Brooks' shoes because he has to guard guys like this every night. Having said all of that, to me, the irony in this is that he's calling a guy old who is still capable of being the best player on the floor on any given night. And how many guys historically at LeBron's age can say that in any sport? So people are going to make this into bulletin board material. It's not at all for LeBron James. He's dealt with this stuff before. To me, this is nothing different than a modern version of Lance Stephenson blowing in his ear. And the hype we made out of that back when Miami was playing Indiana in those battles in the Eastern Conference. That's what Dillon Brooks is. He's an agitator. He's an irritant. And he's going to try to get under your skin in any way possible. And he's also going to try to get attention, which is what he has done by us giving him this segment based on those comments, because that's really ultimately what he wants. It will have no bearing on the series, though, whatsoever. I just think it's funny to call a guy old that can still be this great.
And look, I mean, Windy, let me give you the floor on this here. It is, you've been seeing this and hearing it. Legs is talking about how LeBron's been hearing it. I mean, you've been around him basically since he was in high school. How about this latest chapter of an agitator for LeBron James?
Yeah, I'm going to sound like a Sopranos character here, but this has been happening since Dillon Brooks was in short pants. Forget about Lance Stephenson. I'm going to take you back to Deshaun Stevenson in the 2000s, trying this same stuff with Soulja Boy. It seriously goes back that far. But Dillon Brooks is kind of like Diet Draymond Green. There's more going on here than just trash talk. He's actually laying a trap. Now, the trap is not going to work. But I can see what he's doing. The Grizzlies need, because he also said, I don't respect anybody unless they put 40 on me, which is a laughable comment for about 10 reasons. But let's move that aside. The reason that he's saying that, other than trying to get under LeBron's skin, is that the Grizzlies want LeBron to go for 40. The more LeBron has the ball, the more Anthony Davis doesn't have the ball. He's actually trying to to goad LeBron into something here. And so I don't think it's going to work. But this was extremely predictable from the start of this series. Now we have it, and we're going to probably see a little bit more back and forth between these two guys in the next 10 days.
Diet Draymond is my new favorite moniker that we have ever attached to anyone in the history of this show. All right, we'll have more on that back and forth as we continue. But let's talk about the opportunity the Lakers let slip away. Let's just point out that teams that go up 2-0 in a best-of-7 playoff series end up winning that series 92% of the time, but there's more. As you see, when LeBron James is up 2-0 in a playoff series, it's over. He's never lost from that situation, 24-0. So, Wendy, you and I were talking before the show this morning in the meeting about what a disappointing game that was in so many ways for a Laker team, and in particular for the big man you were just talking about.
Yeah, so a huge missed opportunity because they could have killed this series with the win in this game with no Ja Morant. And I think I want to point out the timeline here. Number one, no game until Saturday night. That's going to give Ja Morant essentially another 3 days to see if he can get that hand in shape to play. I don't know if he's going to be able to, but that time helps. And then after that, guys, the timing thing swings towards the Grizzlies here, because starting on Saturday, the last 4 games of this series are every other day. That's potentially 4 games in 7 days with 4-hour flights in between them. The Grizzlies are the youngest team in the playoffs. If the Lakers had been able to get in this game, I think it would have been a huge advantage. And the disappointing thing is that Anthony Davis wasn't, the Grizzlies just played very hard, which they should, because it was their season. Anthony Davis not only played poorly, the Lakers' scheme, when the Grizzlies brought the predictable double teams, wasn't ready to handle with counter.
The way the Lakers played and the opportunity they let slip away last night.
Yeah, look, I don't think they necessarily let the opportunity to win the series slip away, but to take total control of it and to put a team in a position to do something that historically is almost impossible to do. Yeah, they blew that opportunity because they didn't have desperation, Greeny, and you can't fake desperation. You either feel it or you don't. Instead, they looked comfortable in the first half, and Memphis was the more desperate team. And when you have a team playing without their best player and you're up 1-0 on the road and you have a chance to really go ahead and take full command of the series, you've got to come out with greater level of physicality. You've got to have more purpose in what you're doing defensively. The Lakers showed none of that. And Anthony Davis really is the guy that's going to have to own this, and he should be embarrassed by the way that he played. I think he was guarded, the stats I was given, 55 possessions by Xavier Tillman and Jaren Jackson Jr. and scored 4 points. I mean, Anthony Davis did not look like a guy that was in the mindset that he wanted to do damage to this front line. And as a result, they were back on their heels. Memphis took control. The building was in the game. That's something that they had to avoid, was letting runs happen to get that building rocking. They didn't do that either. They did make it a game in the second half, but even once they got it to within about 5 or 6 points, they just got outworked possession after possession. Very flat, very disappointing performance. They definitely let an opportunity slip away, and now they've got to go back, recalibrate, and understand they did accomplish what most road teams need to, which is get a split in those first 2, and now you've got home court the rest of the way.
That's right. With the absence of Ja Morant, though, I think sort of changed the dynamic last night. They had the opportunity to take total control, and as they go home, I'll just remind everyone, LeBron and Anthony Davis, this will be their first ever home playoff game together. Remember, the run that they had was in the bubble. So this will be the first time they play in that building together, and it will not come until Saturday night. Let me quickly show you another of the games from last night, because Milwaukee was another highly seeded team, the 1 seed, of course, in the entire league, playing without their superstar at home, down 1-0 in a series that needed to come out big, and they did it as well. That's Brook Lopez beating the first quarter buzzer to give Milwaukee a 7-point lead. Here's Pat Connaughton putting the Bucks up by 12 in the second. The next possession, it's Drew Holiday. What a season he has had. 24 points and 11 assists for Holiday last night. The Bucks a 15-point lead, and then Holiday finding Bobby Portis. So Milwaukee goes on to win comfortably, 138-122. They even up that series, headed back to South Florida. His poking the bear, to use his own term. Has anyone ever wanted to be a WWE villain as badly as Dillon Brooks? Look at him. He should be talking right now to McAfee, right, on WWE.
say whatever he wants.
I guess you can say whatever you want, but LeBron's going to answer back, right?
I want LeBron James to take this challenge. I actually want to see, yes, and I'm asking LeBron to do the screening at 38 years old. I want to see him become the Miami Heat version of LeBron James, where he was the villain. Because frankly, Anthony Davis and D'Angelo Russell didn't really do anything last night. But LeBron needs to take this challenge to get his team to the next level so they can become a championship contending team, because they didn't look like one last night.
Well, we've been asking for more than they've given us all year, right? We keep saying, when are the Lakers going to, when are the Lakers, last night was the night to do it. No job. Put your foot on the throat. End this series. And they didn't do it. They were down 20
I brought a
in the
picture for
second.
you. You ready?
Yeah.
Look at this picture.
What is that?
Look at Anthony Davis. Who is this? This is Xavier Tillman.
Yeah.
This is the 32nd pick in the 2020 draft. He had 22 points, okay, on 10 of 13 shooting.
Yeah.
Xavier Tillman. It's not Steven Adams. It's not Brandon Clark. It's not Ja Morant. 22 points.
Yeah.
That's more than D'Lo and Anthony Davis combined. They combined for 18 points. How does this happen on a night where not one player and their best player, 3 players are out, and they took the punch to the Lakers in the first quarter? There's no way in hell that the Lakers can't. Look at this. Last thing I'll say, Greeny.
Yeah.
The Clippers, they split with the Suns. Okay.
Right.
They're splitting with the Suns.
That feels like a win.
It feels like a win, right?
Right.
This feels like a loss to me.
Yeah.
Now, the Lakers can still win the series, but this splitting on the road with the Memphis Grizzlies down 3 players feels like a loss.
I agree, because of the lack of Morant in the second game. And again, there's such an experience. I mean, Anthony Davis and LeBron James have so much experience. They had to know Memphis was going to come out desperate last night. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.